Hello, this is Natalie with Treasures of Minnie. And I know that I usually do crafting videos, and I haven't done a crafting video, a card making video in a couple of weeks, and that is because we got 2 new additions to our family and was kind of sudden, needed rescuing. And so I've been doing a lot of sewing, and we have been making this cage, and I have looked everywhere and I have not found anyone using this idea, and I thought that I would share it with you guys because I know a lot of you guys watch my videos on card making and things like that, and I have mentioned in previous videos that I have an Etsy shop called Treasures of Minnie, and I sew for small animals like cage liners, cuddle cups, hammocks, anything like that. I sew for people, generally use them for chinchillas, which I'm going to introduce you because that is who's in there. Guinea pigs. I've even made some things for hedgehogs, rabbits, ferrets, and I really enjoy doing this, and it does help with some income for me to also do my other crafting. So I thought on my channel I would also start sharing some videos on the things that I make, so you kind of have an idea. And I really wanted to show this really cool cage that my husband and I made. So this is a DIY chinchilla cage, which could also be used for ferrets. I guess you could do it for guinea pigs too. It's a little over the top for guinea pigs, but I guess if you had like cats and they needed to be fully enclosed, you could do that as well. So I'm sorry because I'm holding the camera while I move around, so it's gonna kind of make it a little hard. But this cage, I think you know or should know that chinchillas need a lot of room. Little pet store cages will not work. Generally people do like the Ferret Nation or the Critter Nation, and those, a good one for the right and a good size is going to cost you anywhere from like $250 to $350, and we do not have that kind of money. But oddly enough, everything that we made this cage at, we already had in our house, so this cage actually didn't cost us anything at the time. But overall, I think you could do it for about $75, maybe even a little less. So let me show you. So what this is, and I will try to insert a picture. This is 2 shelving units that I got from Target. This is a smaller one, and this is a bigger one, and I think they were like in the laundry room storage section. And there were 2 sizes. I think that one cost $30 and this one cost $40. And so try to picture not these sides on it. This is like the shelving, and it comes with these poles, and you can place these shelves, slide on and off, and they have like little stoppers to where you can decide where you want these shelves to be. Okay, so then this that is around the outside of the cage are storage cubes. Now, if you know anything about CNC cages, these are the cubes used in CNC cages. And it just so happened that because I had guinea pigs before and I had the CNC cages before, I already had a bunch of these. And it just so happens that on the smaller shelf, they're perfect. They fit perfect. As you can see, from one edge to the other, it fits perfect. And so there's 3 down each end, and then on the front, 2 fits perfect. And we just used some, they're called hog nose rings. These little metal, They're like little metal clips that you just push on there, and you use this tool and it does it together. Only the tool broke, so we ended up using zip ties for everything else, black ones. My girls do not chew at this at all, because for one, we make sure it's really snug and close, and because it's black, they really can't see it, I don't think. But so everything else is held together with zip ties. My husband may, if we start to notice the girls really chewing on it, I'm sorry, the focus is kind of coming and going, we might get that tool again and go back and add them. But if you put them on really tight, there's really no way for them to like really chew on it. You see, we ran out of black ones. We had to put some white ones on, which my husband's going to go back later and change. The girls don't chew on them. They have a huge house with lots of things to do, so they're not always trying to escape. Now, what I did want to tell you is on the bigger shelf, this space from here to here is bigger than a storage cube. And along the back wall, it's not the exact length, but what we did find, so if you can see along the back wall, there's 2 full cubes, and then on each end there's one that we bent. And they're real easy to bend. We just bent it at the third one down, bent it, made a 90-degree. And so then it comes around and makes this corner perfect, almost. And then another cube finishes it off to right here. Now you'll see this right here. This is the door, oops, that we made for right now. I think my husband's got a better idea for like doing some hinges, but we were doing this late at night. Like I said, we rescued the girls pretty quick we were not prepared for anything for them. So it was, yeah. So this just, you can see, this is what I meant by bending the cubes. We just bent it. And so it goes around there perfect. And we just bungee cord it. But, so this is one area where it opens. This one also opens too, but I didn't want them to all open at the same time, because the girls, if this was all open and I was cleaning up here, they'd come down there and they'd be out. So, okay, so we'll come and look inside. So you can see how there's the cubes. And we just bent that one to come around the corner. And bent it again to come around this corner. And like, this is their tube. I made the cover for the tube. This is their hammocks. I make these hammocks as well. These are my cage liners, and they have U-Haul pad on the inside and wicked fleece on the outside. So my girls are pretty much potty trained for pee though, so they don't really need that. Oh, there's Meadow. Hi, Meadow. Hi, Meadow. But I can make these, and I do make these any size that you need. All you have to do is go on my Etsy shop and email me and let me know. So that's what the shelf looks like that came with the shelving system. And then I just lay my fleece liners right over it. And so this is a shelf too. And all my husband did is he cut the center, or this end of the shelf out, and he just used some wire cutters, cut it out. And we, because the little edges were kind of sharp, we took some rope that's safe for them to chew on, and we just wrapped it around it to make sure we covered up all the sharp edges. And then there's my cage liner that goes right over it, so they can hop They can hop from down there right up into here. So we only had to cut out one part of the shelf, but it was really easy to do. Well, it was easy for my husband to do. So that's from this side. Let me kind of clamp this back because Meadow is sleeping, but Maybe is up, and Maybe will use the opportunity to get out. Okay. For this front side right here, I just use some of these little like these little clips. And this one opens up. Oops. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. And this one just raises up to the top. And so this whole front area right here opens up. You can see their area. So I cut the cage liners. I measured and made my liners to fit my cage, but all you have to do is give me measurements of your cage and I can do the same thing. Here's a tube. They don't really get in this one that much because it's kind of smaller, but I leave it here because they do like to hop up and sit right here. If it was in the evening, they would both be sitting either right here or on this swinging ledge because I come in and I open this up and they come and get a little treat, which Maybe, there's Maybe. Maybe is all white. And she usually will come sit right here. So I've got their tile, like a chinchilla, but it's tile. And I have 2 in the freezer right now, and then I have 2 in their cage. And it's not hot at all, but if it was kind of stuffy or humid, I would take 2 out of the freezer and put them in here. This is just hanging from some rope. I wasn't really sure about this at first because I was kind of afraid that they would chew the rope and then the whole little ledge would fall. But they don't chew on it. They have enough stuff in their house that they don't chew on this. And this is a fleece pad with the U-Haul in the center. So if they did pee, which Maybe does not, the white one, but the smallest one, Meadow, who we rescued too, she doesn't quite use the litter box as good as Maybe does. Maybe will not pee anywhere but in the litter box down there. So this right here was actually that boy right there's part of his cat tree, but he didn't like it because it just like had one pole it was attached to in the center and it wobbled, so he would never go all the way up. He just sits on one of those 2 ledges, so we just took it off. Hey Tom. Thomas, you want to say hi? You say hi? This is Tommy. Tommy's mom was hit by a car when he was a week old. She was trying to take all of her babies across the street, and all the babies died except for Thomas. And Thomas, he had a punctured lung and 4 broken ribs, and he literally sat in the palm of my hand. And we have nursed him. We managed to make him live, and I don't even know how, but if you look on my YouTube channel like 3 years ago, I think it says kitten sucking finger. That is this little boy. He would suck my finger to go to sleep. And you can see a lot of times he likes me to put my hand right here over him because I think it reminds him of that. But that's him. He lived. Anyway, back over here. So this was just a part of his cat tree that we took off and it had just been sitting around. And my husband just did some rope and then attached it. So this kind of moves. They kind of like it because it kind of hangs here. And like I said, because of Meadow, I put this here. So if she does pee up here, it's easy to wash. All right. So then, we did not use all of the shelves. On each one of these, we were minus a shelf in this big area, but we want them to be able to jump a lot. So for the small one, my husband took the shelf and he made like these little clamps right here. So all I do is you push in here, and push in here, and Maybe is down there. So she's gonna be like, woohoo, I can get out. And then he took some chain. Hey, Maybe. And he put it on chain. So this can unfold. Hello, Maybe. I named her Maybe because I had her for a week, and every name that we would come up with, we would always say, I don't know, maybe. Like we had to think about it, and we'd call her that name for a little bit, and it just didn't work. So then somebody would come up with another name, and I'd be like, oh, that maybe that'll work. And then one day my husband said, well, you keep saying Maybe all the time. Why don't you just name her Maybe? So we named her Maybe. But it was funny because it took a little over a week to come up with Maybe's name, but the minute Meadow jumped into my arms and laid on my chest, for some reason, I just got this picture of her in this beautiful meadow of wild like flowers just hopping through there, and I was like, her name's Meadow. So yeah, their names come to no, you can't get out. No, you can't get out. No. So this is the bottom part. And the only part, so after we had the cage put together for like 3 nights, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th night, I was in bed, they're in our room. You're so sweet. It's about 1:30 in the morning, my husband comes running in the room, he's holding Maybe, and his eyes are just huge, and he's like, she was downstairs. And he was like, I just saw this white puffball like dart across the living room. So apparently the bottom of the shelves in this first gap right here is a lot bigger than everywhere else. And they can't squeeze through this because it is a small like square space. But if these weren't here, they can flatten themselves in a long situation. And Maybe had found out that right here on this bottom shelf, she could squeeze to get out. So we had some chicken wire, and my husband just did a layer of chicken wire on the bottom one that leads to the outside. You don't have to do it on the center ones because they don't try to get out through there, and they can't because that's enclosed. So just on the very bottom one, we just tie wrapped some chicken wire to the bottom to where she couldn't squeeze through it, and then I put my fleece liner right on top. And because this was a shelf, let's see, I wonder if you can notice, like you can see the gap here is bigger than the rest of the gaps. So even though she had not tried to get out through this, we kind of figured she probably still could. So we went on and put chicken wire in front of this one. But then after we did it, after we were done with the whole cage, the next day we realized we had a few of these left. So I think my husband's going to take this off because it doesn't really look that good, and actually just take 2 of the cubes and tie wrap them in here to where it's black and it kind of matches it and it doesn't stand out as much. So that is our cage. So I just pop that back in there. And my husband's going to do something different with these, but it was like 1:30 in the morning. We were putting the last touches on it, and that was just what we had. So this door also opens, and that's their litter box. And then I have, we left a shelf underneath for storage. So I have their hay there, and their litter, and the vacuum, and their little thing of treats. Hi, sweetheart. Yep. So that's our cage. So the cubes, so Like I said, this first shelf was like, I think it was like 20, it was between 25 and 30, the smaller one. And then the big shelf was 40. Now we had these and we wanted to put it together like this to where the girls had a lot of room. Technically, if you just did this big shelf right here, that's big enough for 2 chinchillas. It's pretty long and pretty wide. So you could see that's a pretty big cage and you could do that. So all you need is this shelving unit that we got at Target and the storage cubes. And I think they come in a pack of like 26 or something like that for like anywhere from $10 to $20, just depending on where you get them at. You can order them on Amazon, I think for like $15.99, and I think you get like 26 in there. For this cage we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34. So you need 34 if you do it just like this. So you could make this cage for, I would say, about under $100. Depends on how big you want to make it. And the girls love it. And they do not try to, they can't get out anywhere. We have not had an issue with the tie wraps. But if you do have a chewer, you might want to use those little, they're called hog nose rings. People use them to do like rabbit cages and stuff. So we did tie wraps and we haven't had an issue. And then if you want, you can visit me on Etsy at Treasures of Minnie and you can see all the cool stuff that I make. I make cuddle cups and corner cups and hammocks and all kinds of little toys and cage liners and all that kind of stuff. I am about to start running a deal where I'm going to do like a whole cage theme set up where you can get your cage, your custom cage liners, a corner hut, a hammock, or a cuddle cup and a hammock and some other fleece things for like $200. So it'll be like a really good deal because you're, and you can do a cage theme. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. And I do have a card video that I have made. I just have to finish editing and I will upload that tomorrow. But here is today's video, and let me know if you guys want to see any more videos on my chinchillas or would like to know a little bit more in depth how we made this really cool DIY cage. Until next time, hugs and loves from my craft room to yours. Bye.